Imagine stepping into a place built for joy, a place where children once laughed, families once gathered, and lights once shined bright. But now, all that remains is silence, rust, and whispers in the dark. Across the United States, there are theme parks so terrifying in their abandonment that even time itself seems afraid to enter. And tonight, we're taking you inside 5 of the most chilling abandoned parks that America has ever seen. But be warned, once you know what still lingers in these places, you may never look at a roller coaster the same way again. Imagine walking past rusted gates, once painted bright with colors of joy, now dripping with the shadows of time. Imagine the sound of laughter that no longer exists, replaced only by the whistle of the wind through broken roller coasters. These are not just places left behind. They are monuments of forgotten childhoods, of family trips that ended decades ago, of dreams that turned into nightmares. Across the United States, hidden behind fences and trees, there are theme parks that once promised happiness. Now, they stand silent, terrifying in their decay. The first takes us to New Orleans. Jazzland. It was once alive with music, fried food smells drifting from stalls, kids running with sticky fingers from cotton candy. But Hurricane Katrina struck. The floodwaters swallowed the rides, leaving bumper cars buried in mud and Ferris wheels frozen in time. Even today, graffiti covers the walls, and the sound of crows echoes in the empty parking lots. Some locals say you can still hear the music of the park faintly at night, as if the city's heartbeat refuses to let it go. Next is Six Flags in New Jersey, deep inside a forest. Nature has taken over. Roller coasters look like skeletons wrapped in ivy, their steel bones twisting toward the sky. The merry-go-round horses have no eyes now, just hollow sockets staring into the distance. People who sneak in at night speak of lights flickering on rides that haven't had power for years. No one knows why. Then there's Lake Shawnee Amusement Park in West Virginia. Its story is darker. Built on land where violence once stained the soil, the park was cursed from the start. Children drowned in the swimming pool, others died on the swings. Locals abandoned it decades ago, yet the Ferris wheel still stands, creaking in the wind as if waiting for riders who will never return. Some who pass by claim to hear the laughter of children, but when they turn, there is only silence. In California lies another forgotten wonder, near the desert. The Rock-A-Hoola water park. Under the burning sun, its empty slides crack and peel. The pools are dry, filled only with sand and dust. The place feels like a mirage, as if it was never real, but the graffiti, the shattered glass, the lonely lifeguard tower remind you it once thrived. Skateboarders and explorers go there now, but many leave quickly, disturbed by the silence that grows heavier the longer you stay. And then there is the strangest one of all, Holy Land USA in Connecticut. Built to look like ancient Jerusalem, once packed with Sunday crowds, it now lies crumbled and hollow. Statues of angels have broken faces. Crosses tilt in the dirt. There is something unsettling about faith left to rot, prayers echoing through shattered chapels. Some say the land is watched. That even now, when you step inside, you are not alone. 5 parks, 5 ghosts of America's past. Each one different, yet connected by a haunting truth. What once brought joy now whispers fear. But one question remains, one no one dares to answer. Why do so many who visit say they feel like the parks are not completely empty? Because when they step through the rusted gates, it feels as if someone, or something, is still there, watching. At Jazzland, explorers swear they've seen shadows moving behind broken ticket booths, even though no one else was inside. One group claimed they heard the faint sound of carousel music, playing slow and distorted, drifting through the swamp air. They left before they could find the source. At Six Flags in New Jersey, the forest has swallowed nearly everything, yet somehow the sound of chains clanking echoes from the old roller coaster tracks. As if the ride is still alive, waiting to move. Locals whisper that those who sneak in alone rarely stay long, something always pushes them back out, as if the park itself doesn't want them there. Lake Shawnee is worse. Families driving past at night sometimes see the Ferris wheel turning, even though it hasn't worked in years. It's always slow, steady, unnatural. When they look closer, the ride is frozen still. Some believe the land itself holds the memories of every life lost, and it refuses to rest. In the California desert, the Rock-A-Hoola stands under a burning sun, but at night it changes. Those who camp nearby say they've seen the water park lit by an eerie glow, slides shining silver under a moonless sky. One man swore he saw figures climbing the slides, racing down into empty pools, their laughter echoing long after they vanished. In Holy Land, USA, perhaps the most unsettling of all. Visitors feel watched the moment they enter. The broken statues seem to follow your every move. One woman told reporters she saw a cross glowing red in the distance, pulsing like a heartbeat. When she ran closer, it was nothing but rusted metal and weeds. So why do these places, abandoned and forgotten, still breathe with something alive? Is it memory clinging to the walls? Is it history refusing to fade? Or is it something far darker, something America's forgotten playgrounds do not want us to uncover? Some say it's the weight of millions of footsteps, families, children, lovers, all leaving behind a piece of themselves in the laughter and the tears. When the ride stopped, the echoes remained, trapped like voices in a bottle. But others believe it's not just echoes. That these parks are doors. Not the kind you open with a key, but thresholds that blur the line between the living and whatever waits beyond. And when the gates rusted shut, the doors were left wide open. In West Virginia, hunters passing Lake Shawnee tell of lantern lights moving through the trees, though no campers are there. In New Orleans, security guards patrolling Jazzland quit after hearing children's laughter in the middle of flooded halls. And in Connecticut, late at night, the cross at Holy Land casts a shadow that stretches too far, longer than the hill allows, bending unnaturally toward the town below. People keep asking why these places call us back. Why we're drawn to what terrifies us. Maybe it's curiosity. Maybe it's the thrill. Or maybe, deep down, we know these parks aren't finished with us yet. Because every year, despite warnings, despite locked gates, people still sneak in. They climb the fences, push open broken doors, step into places time tried to bury. And some of them come back changed, unable to explain what they saw. Others never talk about it at all. But the truth is, there's one story that ties them all together. One detail that surfaces in every abandoned park, no matter the state, no matter the year. A detail so small, most people dismiss it, until they've seen it themselves. A single light. Always a single light. At Jazzland, it flickers above the old ticket booth, as if someone is still selling passes. At Six Flags, it glows deep in the woods, hanging over the broken coaster like a lantern guiding the way. At Lake Shawnee, it burns inside the Ferris wheel's highest cart, though no wires remain connected. At Rock-A-Hoola, it shines from the top of the tallest slide, a pale glow against the desert sky. And at Holy Land, it lingers behind the shattered chapel window, steady and cold, like an eye that never closes. No one knows what it means. Is it electricity, a trick of reflection, or something else? But those who have seen it swear the same thing, that the light is never still. It follows. It shifts. It waits. And if you stare too long, if you let your eyes lock onto that glow, it feels as though the park itself notices you. As if it knows you shouldn't be there. Some who have stared too long claim they brought something back with them. Not a ghost they could see, not a shadow they could describe, but a heaviness that lingered in their homes. Whispers in the hallway. A sudden drop in temperature. The feeling of being watched long after they left the park behind. What if that single light isn't just a warning? What if it's an invitation? An invitation to step closer. To follow where it leads. At first, people think it's harmless, a trick of the eyes, maybe even a flashlight left behind by another explorer. But the closer they walk, the more the air changes. It grows heavier, like the atmosphere before a storm. Breathing feels harder, the silence deeper. And then the sounds begin. At Jazzland, it's the slow grind of the carousel turning, though its gears are rusted solid. At Six Flags, it's the rattle of coaster chains climbing upward, dragging a train that isn't there. At Lake Shawnee, it's the laughter of children, soft at first, then sharp and piercing. At Rock-A-Hoola, the splash of water echoes from dry pools. And at Holy Land, it's the low hum of voices reciting prayers in a language no one recognizes. Those who follow the light say it always leads them to the same place, the center of the park. No matter how big the grounds, no matter how far they've wandered, it draws them back to the heart. In waiting there's always something different. A shadow standing too still. A ride that looks as though it's moving without sound. Or sometimes, nothing at all, nothing but that glow, hovering, pulsing, as though it's alive. And this is the detail that unsettles explorers most. When they finally turn away, when they decide to leave, the light doesn't stay behind. It fades into the dark. Only to reappear, closer than before. Closer, always closer. One man in New Jersey swore he saw it right behind the shattered glass of the funhouse mirror, glowing inches from his reflection. In Louisiana, a group of teenagers said the light followed them all the way to their car, hovering in the rearview mirror until they sped away. At Lake Shawnee, a woman claimed it appeared in her motel room window after she left, flickering like a candle that refused to go out. No matter where they run, it seems to find them. As if stepping into these parks is more than trespassing. As if the light marks you, carries your name back into the silence, and remembers. Some refuse to talk about what happened afterward. Friends say they changed, sleeping less, waking in the night to sounds no one else could hear. One man boarded up his house, covering every window, convinced the glow would appear. Another left town entirely, but months later neighbors swore they saw a faint light inside his abandoned home, pulsing like a heartbeat behind the curtains. And yet people keep going back. Every year, more stories surface. More proof that the light is real. But no one has ever been able to answer the question that matters most. What happens if you don't look away? Some believe the answer lies in the stories no one finishes telling. The missing explorers, the ones whose friends say they just wandered too far. The cameras recovered with batteries drained, screens frozen on frames of glowing white. The notebooks with last words scrawled in panic, asterisk it's closer asterisk, before the ink trails off. In West Virginia, locals whisper about a boy who vanished at Lake Shawnee after daring his friends to stare at the light until it went out. They found his shoes by the Ferris wheel. Nothing else. In the desert near Rock-A-Hoola, a photographer disappeared while filming at night. Only his tripod remained, the lens cracked as if something had struck it from the inside. And then there are the dreams. The ones reported by those who followed the glow too long but managed to leave. They say it returns at night, waiting in the corners of their sleep. Always the same, the park gates opening, the sound of rides starting up, and that light, hovering in the dark, calling them back. What if the parks were never abandoned at all? What if the rides never truly stopped? What if the light is their way of keeping the gates open, waiting for the next person willing to stare a little too long, to step a little too close? And maybe that's the truth we don't want to face. These abandoned parks are not just rotting steel and broken rides. They are stories that refuse to end, places where time never moved on. Every creak of a Ferris wheel, every whisper of laughter in the dark, every glow of that single light. They remind us that joy and terror often share the same ground. Families once came here for happiness. Children once begged for one more ride. And now, those same places ask a question we can't answer. When a dream dies, does it really disappear? Or does it stay behind, waiting, watching, glowing faintly in the night? For the moment someone new is brave enough, or foolish enough, to walk through the gates again.